this is what men must do, this is what women must do. लड़का बड़ा होगा तो IIT जाके इंजीनियर बनेगा, शादी करेगा एक होमली लड़की से जो घर सजाएगी. This is not such bad news. जब एक नैट अच्छा करती है, she becomes a role model for women in Mangalore. It is someone who has gone from one strata of society to a completely different strata of society. And why has it happened? When I was growing up, I was about 7 or 8, my great-grandmother would give me and my brothers some life advice ke bade hoke kya banna hai types. And she would tell my brothers कि परिवार की जिम्मेदारी तुम पे है, you have to earn because you have to provide for the family one day. And to me and my sisters, the advice was like, बड़े होके सबका ख्याल रखना है. You have to build a beautiful home, take care of your family, that kind of nice stuff. And it was not that we were not told, don't work, don't study, but there was always that subtle reminder that, listen, you better know how to cook because what will your in-laws say one day? And the funny thing is, this story, and some of you are smiling, this is not unique to Muzaffarnagar or UP or Bihar. And by the way, it's not about tier 1 India or tier 2 cities in India. It's not about rural India or urban India. And it's not even about India. It's about Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and most of emerging economies, where there is this belief, you can call it belief, you can call it stereotype, you can call it whatever you want, that this is what men must do, this is what women must do. The role of the male is to go out and earn the bread, provide for the family. The role of the woman is to provide a happy, beautiful home. हमारे इंडिया में that line I love to say that लड़का बड़ा होगा तो IIT जाके इंजीनियर बनेगा, शादी करेगा एक होमली लड़की से जो घर सजाएगी, सुंदर सा घर बनाएगी. What I'm here to tell you is that now this is not such bad news. Actually, going forward, it may be good news. Because what you classically called feminine traits are actually the traits that the workplace of the future needs. And I didn't say female traits, I said feminine traits. Because feminine can be the prerogative of a man and a woman. So let me start with a normal day, at least in my house. मेरे पापा government servant थे. And I remember he would wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, watch TV, have dinner, and go to sleep. My mother was a school teacher. She would feed all of us breakfast, pack our lunches, go to school, come back and help my brother with his school projects, oil my hair and fix my wardrobe for the next day, and then entertain all my father's guests at night, because that is what the wife of a government servant was supposed to do. In effect, mom was that empathetic leader who was making sure that every member of her team was prepared to be their best every day. And as we think this, leading business publications like Forbes, they write about how you have to lead from the heart. It's not about the smart man at the top anymore. It's about leading from the heart. It's about balancing different people in the organizations, knowing when to, give a little bit of a stick, knowing when to give a little bit of a smile. Indian mothers have been doing this all their life. Many of you will remember this from your kitchens, but मुझे अपने घर में याद है that none of us ever agreed कि हमें डिनर में क्या चाहिए. एक दिन मेरे पापा को मटर चावल चाहिए होते थे. उसी दिन my brother wanted भिंडी and paratha, and I wanted roti and paneer. And I remember my mother making 3 different dinners for us nearly every night till last night when I was here. When mom was sick any one of these days and papa had to cook, we knew what we would get. That was matar chawal. And my father would always tell my mother कि ये सब झंझट करने की क्या जरूरत है. What was झंझट, effort, pain for a man was actually giving every one of her customers an individual customer experience for a woman. And so today's corporate world, today's workplace is about individual customer experience. When a mother asks 3 members of her family, Khana kaisa tha? How was the food? She learned individual customer experience at the dining table. I lived in a country called Nigeria. I don't know if any of you know about Nigeria, but Nigeria is a grossly unsafe country. Robberies are fairly common. तो एक दिन हमारे घर में चोरी हुई, कुछ 2 लाख चोरी हुए, and we found that this was 2 lakhs that were stolen because they were left in the cupboard. And we were wondering who keeps 2 lakhs at home in a country like Nigeria. We found out that this was the money that my mother had saved up from the monthly spending budget that my father had given her. And because you can't open bank accounts in Nigeria, she hid it in a cupboard. Now, the rest of this country eventually realized that the collective savings of Indian women, what we called Gupt Dhan in UP, was actually much larger than 2 lakhs. When did we realize this? Demonetization. Now, what is the point I am making? I come from the corporate world where we are talking about adaptability, managing within limited budgets. Indian women have been managing to the best of their ability within limited budgets, yet saving up something for the rainy day, and they have been doing it without cost budgeting meetings, resource optimization discussions, MIS systems, and Excel spreadsheets. And you know, I can tell thousands of such stories, and so can you, because this is our reality. We all have these stories. But it is when a society as a whole realizes the power of these stories and the power of this skill set that the impact is actually large. So, Meri Saas, my mother-in-law, comes from Bangalore. And about 25 years ago, a young girl, 15-year-old girl called Nat, had come to her. Nat came from Bangalore, a family of 5, and she had studied till 4th standard in a Kannada medium school. The family fell on hard circumstances, so they sent the daughter to Mumbai to become maids. Nat stayed with my mother-in-law. She learned how to cook, she learned some English, she learned how to play Monopoly with my husband also. And at some point when my mother-in-law's sister went overseas, Nat went overseas and learned how to manage herself there. 9 years ago, I went to Nat's wedding in Mumbai, where 1,000 people had attended, which she had funded. And today, Nat lives in Mumbai with 3 of her children, 2 of whom are girls, all going to English medium schools. You know, this shift of a girl who went and finished 4th from a Kannada medium school to a woman whose daughters are going to an English medium school, it's an orbit shift in India. It is someone who has gone from one strata of society to a completely different strata of society. And why has it happened? It's happened not just because Nat came from a supportive family. She did. But she also came from a community that knew it was important to leverage the power of its women and actually created an infrastructure that helped women like Nat do that, even if it meant that the men stayed at home to do that. And it's not about Nat. जब एक Nat अच्छा करती है, she becomes a role model for women in Bangalore. She becomes a home base in Bombay for 3 more girls from her village or community. She becomes an educated mother that will have educated children, and that cycle goes on and on. And we have many such examples. We have them in Kerala, we have them in Northeast, and if you all sit and recollect, you'll think of many such examples. You may know the numbers, but 27% of our women participate in the workforce, 75% of our men do. If you take that 27% number up by 10%, you add $700 billion to GDP. That's about 1.5% of GDP. That's a big number. It's very easy to say this is a problem that a diversity board should solve, that corporate India should solve, or that government should solve at a policy level. I disagree. I think there's something that we all, as young India, can do starting tomorrow. Last Friday, I went to a party in Mumbai at a five-star hotel. A lot of CEOs were attending that party. And while I was having dinner a few hours later, to the side at the dinner table, there was a girl standing there. She was the person who had greeted everyone 2, 3 hours ago, checked our names. You've all seen such girls. And she was standing there, holding her plate, completely alone. But you know, she was not standing in the corner of that room. She was standing right there in the middle. Her name is Sneha. She's 21. She's studying to be an air hostess. She lived in Bhayandar, 2 hours away from where this event was, and she does this work at night. All of us who are sitting here today are very privileged. We've all seen Snehas somewhere, girls who are just trying to break out from difficult circumstances and are standing alone in that room. And we all know what it feels like to be Sneha. Can we just take 1 or 2 such girls under our wing? You can do it in your home with the daughters of your maids and drivers, because remember, where did Nat get her first break? It was in her home. You can do it in your society, because you'll meet a Sneha in your neighborhood, you'll meet a Sneha in your community. And you can definitely do it in the workplace when you meet a colleague from a less privileged background, someone who looks a little scared, a little tentative in that office. It's very easy for young India to say that this problem must be solved by a minister or by a CEO. I just want to tell you one thing that I learned from talking to Sneha, and it is that Sneha will never have access to that minister in a government office, and she will never have access to that CEO in an ivory tower. For Sneha, for Nat, for Priyanka, for Yamini, for Isreen, for Toral, for Vijaya, for Kamla, for Mary, for half a billion Indian women, you can be that minister and you can be that CEO.